All right, so today we're going to be talking all about sales recruitment, specifically for startups. I think a lot of people realize that finding the right sales talent is absolutely crucial, especially, in those early stages. Every hire really counts. But did you know that a single bad hire can actually set you back like a significant amount of money? Like we're talking upwards of 30% of that employee's first year earnings.
Right.
That's pretty crazy.
Mm.
And that's a hit that most startups just honestly can't afford.
Mm-hmm.
So today we're doing a deep dive into some expert advice to try to help everyone out there avoid that costly mistake. We are going to be looking at an article from the Sales Experts. It's called Sales Recruitment Strategies for Startups and Small Businesses, Getting It Right from the Start. And this is really for all of you out there who are building your sales teams, really kind of from the ground up.
Yeah, this is a fantastic piece. It really emphasizes this idea of finding people who aren't just good salespeople, but they also really connect with your company's values and vision. And I think that can be especially crucial in the fast-paced, always evolving world of a startup.
Yeah, for sure. There was this one line in the article that really kind of stood out to me. They compare a startup to like a carefully crafted piece of art, where each team member kind of plays, a key role in creating this masterpiece.
Yeah. And, and that really highlights why this whole idea of alignment is so important. You need salespeople who are adaptable and flexible, and they're truly invested in the company's success. I kind of think of it as like building a team of mini entrepreneurs, folks who are really passionate about driving growth and making a real impact.
Now, the article also touches on the role of like specialized headhunting agencies, especially in supporting startups with sales recruitment. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it can be a great option for a lot of startups, especially those that, may not have the internal resources or expertise to manage that whole recruitment process themselves. A good agency can really be a time saver. They handle everything from sourcing and screening candidates, coordinating interviews and negotiating offers.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, it really frees up the startup's leadership to focus on what they should be focused on, which is building the business. But let's be honest, like some people out there might hesitate because of the fees involved. So how do you kind of address that concern?
Well, the sales experts actually frame this really well. They really encourage you to think about that potential cost of a bad hire, which, like we talked about earlier, can be substantial, not just financially, but also in terms of, lost productivity, missed opportunities, and even damage to your brand reputation.
So it's almost like you're viewing those agency fees as an investment. That's an investment in mitigating those risks. It's like an insurance policy for your sales team.
Exactly. You're investing in finding the right people, the people who can drive sales success and contribute to the long-term growth of your company. And frankly, when you factor in all the time and resources that you would spend on recruitment internally, partnering with an agency can actually be more cost-effective in the long run.
Yeah, and you're also getting, their network. You're getting their expertise. They understand the nuances of the sales talent market.
Absolutely. And they know what to look for. Those key skills and traits that are really going to predict success in a startup environment. It's like you're getting access to a whole team of experts who are dedicated to finding you the best possible talent.
That's a pretty compelling argument for sure. But even with an agency, you still need to know what you're looking for, right? How can startups really ensure that they're clearly defining their needs and communicating those effectively?
Well, the sales experts, they really emphasize the importance of creating a detailed candidate profile. And this goes beyond just listing the skills and the experience that's required. It's about really outlining like those ideal personality traits, their work style, even cultural fit. Think about those values that are essential to your company's culture. Do you prioritize collaboration, innovation, customer centricity?
So it's not just about what they can do,
but
who they are as a person, how they'll fit within the team, and the broader company culture.
Exactly. And having that clarity up front, that's really going to help you attract the right candidates and make the entire recruitment process way more efficient.
This has been really insightful. I'm curious to hear more about how the sales experts suggest startups go about actually finding and evaluating these candidates.
Yeah.
What are some of the key takeaways there?
Well, one of the things that they really stress is the importance of looking beyond the resume. It's easy to get caught up in, the number of years of experience or the big name companies someone's worked for. But those things don't always tell the whole story.
Right, especially in the startup world, right?
Yeah.
Everything moves so fast. Adaptability is key. So you might actually need someone who's, more of a quick learner.
Yeah.
More of a problem solver.
Yeah.
Than someone with a long but, potentially less relevant track record.
Exactly. The sales experts suggest looking for what they call those hidden gems, the candidates who might not have the most impressive resume on paper, but they have the raw talent, the drive, and the potential to really thrive in your unique environment.
So how do you identify those hidden gems? What should startups be looking for during that interview process?
Well, they really advocate for a behavioral interviewing approach. So this means asking questions that dig into how a candidate has handled specific situations in the past. It's about understanding their thought process, their problem-solving skills, and how they adapt to different challenges.
Can you give me like an example of a behavioral interview question that might be particularly insightful for, a startup sales role?
Sure, one that I really like is, tell me about a time you had to sell a product or service to a skeptical customer. How did you approach the situation and what was the outcome? I think this question can reveal a lot about a candidate's resilience, their ability to handle objections,
Right.
and their overall sales acumen.
Yeah, that's a good one. It forces them to go beyond just like reciting their skills,
Right.
and actually demonstrate how they've used them in real world scenarios.
Exactly. And it gives you, as the interviewer, those valuable insights into how they think and how they might perform in similar situations within your company.
Now, the sales experts also talk about the importance of cultural fit, which we touched on a little bit earlier. How can startups assess whether a candidate is really aligned with the company's values and vision?
Well, it's about going beyond just asking, what do you know about our company?
Mm.
It's about really digging deeper into their motivations, their aspirations.
Yeah.
Why are they interested in working for a startup? What excites them about your company's mission?
Yeah, it's almost like a dating process in a way. You're trying to figure out if there's a real spark, a genuine connection between the candidate's values and the company's values.
That's a great analogy. And just like in dating, it's a two-way street. The candidate should be assessing whether they feel like it's a good fit as well.
So it's really about transparency, authenticity on both sides. Now, the sales experts also mentioned something called founder salesperson fit. Can you kind of tell me a little bit more about what that is?
Yeah, this is an interesting concept. They basically suggest that the salesperson's personality and their approach should complement the founder's style. So think about, the founder's leadership style. Are they very hands-on, very involved? Or do they give their team a lot of autonomy? What is their communication style? Are they direct and assertive? Or more collaborative and consensus-driven?
Yeah, I can see how finding that right fit could really boost the sales team's effectiveness. Imagine a founder who is very data-driven and analytical, paired with a salesperson who's more intuitive and relationship-focused. They could really like balance each other out and
Yeah.
create a powerful dynamic.
Exactly. And then on the flip side, if the founder and the salesperson have clashing styles, that can lead to friction and actually hinder the team's performance. So it's definitely something to consider during the recruitment process.
Now, we've talked a lot about working with agencies, but the sales experts also acknowledge that, that might not be feasible for every startup or even desirable. So what are some of the alternative recruitment strategies that they recommend?
Well, they highlight the power of networking and leveraging online platforms, especially LinkedIn. LinkedIn has become such a valuable tool for recruiters these days. It lets you connect with potential candidates directly, search for very specific skills and experience, and even get insights into their background and interests.
Yeah, it's like this virtual talent marketplace.
Yeah.
Whereas startups can really kind of showcase their company culture and attract those candidates who are specifically interested in working in that startup environment.
Exactly. And it can be a very cost-effective way to reach a large pool of qualified candidates. They also recommend attending industry events and conferences as a way to connect with potential talent in person.
Yeah, that can be a great way to kind of get a feel for someone's personality, to see how they interact with others in a professional setting.
Absolutely. And it's a chance for you as a representative of your company to showcase your company culture and what makes it such a unique and exciting place to work.
It sounds like the sales experts are really advocating for this multifaceted approach to recruitment, using a combination of traditional and online methods to reach the widest possible pool of talent.
That's right. And they really emphasize the importance of being creative and resourceful, especially in today's competitive talent market. Think outside the box.
So let's say you found some promising candidates. What are some tips from the sales experts on how to really evaluate them and ultimately make that hiring decision?
Well, they recommend using a combination of assessment techniques. So in addition to those behavioral interviews, consider incorporating skills tests. or even trial projects that allow candidates to demonstrate their abilities in a more practical setting.
That's a great idea,
Yeah.
especially for sales roles where you really need to see how someone actually performs,
Mm.
you know, in a selling situation.
Exactly. It gives you a much more tangible sense of their skills and how they might approach those real-world challenges within your company. The sales experts also emphasize the importance of checking references thoroughly.
Right, that's so important. Talking to previous employers or colleagues can give you so many insights into their work ethic, their communication style, how they interact with others. It's a great way to validate what you've learned in the interview process and get a more well-rounded view of the candidate.
Absolutely. And don't be afraid to ask very specific questions
Right.
about, you know, their sales performance, their ability to meet targets, and their overall contribution to the team.
Right. It's about being thorough, doing your due diligence. I mean, hiring the right people is one of the most important decisions you're going to make as a startup leader.
I completely agree. And the sales experts provide such a valuable framework for approaching this whole process strategically and effectively.
This has been incredibly insightful. I feel like we've covered a lot of ground here, from defining your needs
Yeah.
to crafting that candidate profile to exploring, the different recruitment strategies and conducting those thorough evaluations. But before we wrap up, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on one final aspect that the sales experts touch on, and that's the onboarding process.
Oh, that's a great point. Onboarding is often overlooked, but it's so crucial for setting new hires up for success, especially in a fast-paced startup environment. It's not just about getting the paperwork done and showing them where the coffee machine is. It's about really integrating them into the team, the culture, and the company's mission.
So how do the sales experts, suggest that startups approach this onboarding process
Yeah.
to really kind of maximize those chances of sales success for new hires?
Well, they emphasize the importance of creating like a really structured onboarding program. This should include a clear overview of the company's vision, values, and goals, as well as like a deep dive into the products or services that they're going to be selling.
Mm.
It's also crucial to, give them the tools and resources they need to be successful. Things like sales training, mentorship, and access to key decision makers within the company.
Yeah, that makes sense. Set them up for success from day one. Give them the confidence and support they need to really hit the ground running.
Exactly. And it's important to remember that onboarding is not just a one-time thing. It's an ongoing process, regular check-ins, feedback sessions, and opportunities for professional development. Those are all essential to make sure that those new hires continue to grow and thrive in the company.
So it sounds like the sales experts are really advocating for this kind of holistic approach to sales recruitment, from the initial sourcing and screening all the way through to onboarding and ongoing development. It's about seeing each hire as an investment in the long-term success of the company.
You got it. And I think that's a really key takeaway for our listeners today. Building a high-performing sales team isn't just about filling positions. It's about finding those right people, the people who are passionate about your company's mission and who really have that potential to become, true brand ambassadors.
And creating a culture of, support and development.
Yeah.
That really empowers them to reach their full potential and drive that sales success.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So as we wrap up our look at the sales experts' insights today, I think it would be helpful to just distill everything down to a few key takeaways for our listeners.
I like that idea. So first and foremost, define your needs. What are the specific skills, the experience, and importantly, the personality traits that are going to be essential for success in this role? Don't just focus on what's on the resume. Really think about who they are as a person and how they'll fit within your unique company culture.
Absolutely. And second, consider all of your recruitment options. We talked about the benefits of agencies, but there are other avenues to explore as well, like using LinkedIn or going to industry events. Think about the best approach for your specific needs and resources.
And finally, remember, onboarding is not an afterthought. It's super important. It's a crucial stage in setting up those new hires for success. Invest the time and resources to create a structured onboarding program that really integrates them into the team,
Into the
culture, and into the company's mission.
Those are fantastic takeaways. And for anyone who wants to go even deeper, I highly recommend checking out the Sales Experts website. They have a ton of great resources, articles, guides, even training programs, all designed to help you build a world-class sales organization.
It really is a treasure trove of information for anyone who's looking to master that art of sales recruitment and build a team that can really drive growth. I remember finding the right people. That's one of the most impactful investments you can make in your startup's future.
So go out there, find those sales superstars, and watch your startup soar.
Until next time, keep learning, keep innovating, and keep building something extraordinary.